We met for coffee after messaging on a digital marketing forum. His upvotes and comments like "your email stats look beautiful" hooked me, and a smiling profile photo helped. After I learned he was single, I suggested we meet up to talk shop. I told myself it was just networking, but I still spent 20 minutes curling my hair and wore the shirt that brings out the green in my eyes, just in case. Keep watching to find out what happened next and how self-sabotage in relationships is often our body's response to fear. Hi, I'm Michelle Trubman, creator of the MyJourneyToLove.com blog, where you don't need to fit in, just show up as you are on the path to true love. Over the next half hour, as he debated open rates, my latte went cold, and I laughed so hard over his SEO pun I nearly spilled it. As he leaned in, I asked, "Would you be interested in the results of my next email marketing campaign?" "Yes, I'd love to see them," he said with a smile. I promised to follow up on my email marketing campaign results, mapping out how I'd frame them. But the campaign took longer than I thought. My tests and tweaks underperformed, and I took it personally. My ego, my need to impress him, had taken over. As time dragged on, I compared his reply on Tuesday at 10:47 a.m. with the 18-hour gap on Thursday. When I typed the follow-up, I cut the line about having a crush on him, then softened my compliments about his marketing insights to show less interest. I wrote 2 versions, each spinning the results favorably, but the phrasing still felt off. Weeks later, the email I sent highlighted the lessons I'd learned and thanked him for his interest. Afterward, I refreshed my inbox regularly for days, only for the message I sent to stare back at me. That silence felt familiar and landed with a thud. Have you ever done something like this? If so, let me know in the comments. Despite his invitation to follow up and a second email, I never heard back. That told me a lot about him, and more about me. Of all the guys I'd met, I felt I'd clicked with him the most. Though I knew a little about him, I didn't know what he was going through outside of knowing he was a busy fellow business owner. But what I saw I liked. His apparent honesty, his kindness, how he listened, how he asked questions. I felt like we shared an intellectual rapport, and that made him sexier to me than anything, even beyond his looks, which weren't a major factor at the start. He made me feel seen, and that awakened something inside me, even if he wasn't really into me. So I felt a little sad that he ghosted me after he seemed nice and responsive before. His silence was like a door slamming shut. But I've had a string of similar starts. Men who seem interested then pull away or cancel. Many appeared avoidant, sometimes narcissistic. I recognize the pattern, the mystery that draws me in, then the longing or limerence, the unrequited desire. In this case, I was left with the ache of no second chance to make a first impression, or even to explain myself. And despite all that, I take away from that experience a clearer picture of the qualities I'm looking for in a partner. One thing I realized is that an intellectual connection matters more to me than I admitted, and I won't settle for less. So after living through this, I needed to understand why I kept doing this, and what I learned might explain why you do it too. About my post-date behavior. I knew the signs: overthinking, cutting vulnerability, convincing myself professional boundaries justified holding back. I could name how past connections went wrong and still repeat the same moves. And because of my past experiences, part of my holding back might also have been a fear that he was a narcissist. Why doesn't awareness change behavior? Why do we shift from open and connected to closed off and calculating? Many of us face this disconnect. Despite knowing better, we do the same thing, like running the same failed email campaign. Psychologists say these reactions often stem from deeply rooted survival responses. Cold feet are a biological safety mechanism. Here's the simple name for that behavior pattern: the invisible loop. It's a paradox of wanting to connect but pulling away when vulnerability surfaces. In attachment theory, this push-pull dynamic is often linked to an anxious avoidant attachment style, sometimes called fearful avoidant or disorganized. When your nervous system gets confused and intimacy feels dangerous, we either freeze and pull back or panic and chase later. Why do we get stuck here? Like in my last blog at myjourneytolove.com, this one explores the themes of 3 questions from the Am I Dating in Disguise quiz. Stick around to see an interesting physical phenomenon behind this loop. Past traumatic experiences can trigger sudden or involuntary reactions now. So when you suppress your feelings from the person across from you at the coffee shop, your nervous system isn't exactly reacting to them. It's reacting to the history behind what they represent. The core issue: your system learned that vulnerability equals danger. This conditioning can come from major trauma, physical or emotional abuse, abandonment, or serious accidents. Attachment or relationship trauma. Inconsistent parenting, withdrawal of love, constant criticism, or severe infidelity. Subtle trauma. Common but often downplayed experiences like chronic invalidation, being mocked when vulnerable, or comforting yourself often without support. Why does this happen? Your body uses a subconscious safety scanner called Neuroception. It checks for threats before you're aware of them. So if an ex once rejected you, a new date's interest can be misread as risk, triggering game playing or emotional distance. As Dr. Peter A. Levine wrote in his book Waking the Tiger, trauma isn't only in the event, it's stored in the body. Trauma can change your brain structure, which can make past danger feel like present danger. To find out more about the states of mind that take over when relationship anxiety overthinking goes into overdrive, stay tuned for my next video. I also go into more detail about this in the blog this video is based on, which includes tips for relieving anxiety before and during a date from mental health and relationship experts like Amanda Lima, founder and CEO of Serenity Journeys, Margaret Wang, psychotherapist at Thrive and Feel, and Katja Arroyo Carrion, a licensed clinical psychologist at the Relational Trauma Therapist. So here's a quick recap. 1. You may pull away to feel safe. 2. It's often our nervous system's reaction. And 3. Awareness helps. To see if you're showing up authentically on dates or hiding, take the Am I Dating in Disguise quiz. The links to the quiz and to the blog are in the video description. And tell me in one word in the comments, which one of these sounds like you: frozen, chased, or ghosted? If this resonated with you, please share to spread the word. Like and subscribe for the next video. I'll describe the science behind overthinking based on questions in the quiz. Thank you so much for watching.